May we again settle into wherever we are and enjoy this very special music.
In the circle of the moonlight, in the circle of the sun, on the circle of this great earth, we are one. We are one people in the circle of life. Every single person holds a light divine. You cherish your culture, and I cherish mine. Let's seek out the places where our values intertwine. In the circle of the moonlight, in the circle of the sun, on the circle of this great earth, we are one. You sing out your song as truly as can be. All our songs together make a splendid symphony. Draw the circle wider till no one is denied. One world of belonging where everyone's inside. In the circle of the moonlight, in the circle of the sun, on the circle of this great earth, we are one.
Make of yourself a light, the Buddha said. Make of yourself a light, Mary Oliver reminded. What the world needs most is light. Now and from the beginning of stories of established religions and spiritual traditions, the message of light has been present. When ancient leaders and way showers looked upon the faces of the frightened and into the hearts of the suffering, instinctually, intuitively, and primally, they made manifest all manner of light to heal, to hearken, and to welcome. The circles we create function as beacons and as solarium. Our very presence makes ripples into the world. And these beacons, they signal as an alert to seekers of our presence, a place of solace for those within to embrace, brightly beckoning those of like mind and spirit to enter the circle, benevolently sheltering those who do. Circles of comfort, circles of celebration, circles of companionship. Those within each accompanying each other on their journeys. Sometimes circles of exclusivity are necessary. Indeed, sometimes circles of indefinitive dilution saturate a group's purpose beyond recognition. Know that there is a world of difference between bigoted exclusion and intentional inclusion. How do we know when it is best to widen our circles? when it is more beneficial to maintain the margins of the missions of origin? What are the distinctions so that we know when to do which? Are there merits to expansion? Are there solid grounds for exclusion? Several years ago, I attended a service where the guest speaker spoke of his lineage in Freemasonry. He spoke about the fraternal bonds of that order, the history and the current activities of his group. To the extent that he could speak of it, as with many groups, there are things that are held in confidence, only accessible to the members of the group or even easily understood by them. There's inherent languages to our circles. In his instance, he spoke of storytelling being a core practice of his circle. And while some of the order had begun to open to women, his was a men's only chapter. And so the teachings and sharing catered to the views and experiences of men. It was an integral reason for him being part of this specific chapter. At the coffee hour afterward, we were sitting at the same table, and I was introduced as an interfaith minister and as the leader of the women's enrichment programs, including retreats and workshops. Upon hearing my title, the man's demeanor visibly changed. His posture became more fixed, his shoulders stiffened, his smile wavered a little bit. His immediate comment to me was that he supposed I was opposed to men's only groups. And my response surprised him. I referred to his lecture where he spoke about the stories designed from the male perspective, and I said the same is true for our women's circles. Our stories, our rituals, the depths we can explore together as a group of women, even our music, our chanting, our dancing, our drumming would completely change if a man were among us. The feminine language in our lyrics and our poetry, our female-centered topics in our programs, these are integral parts of these gatherings. So I agreed men and women should be able to access spaces exclusive to them. In fact, I believe it is integral for a woman's well-being to be regularly in the company of other women. I assumed this to be true of men as well. Upon hearing this, the man relaxed visibly, posture changing yet again. And a door opened for us to be able to find common ground, to learn more about each other. We discovered many similarities in how we teach and facilitate, even though our audiences and members were vastly different. We also bumped up against areas of disagreement where we were able to navigate potentially polarizing conversation, because we had found early on in our conversation that we did have some common ground. Sadly, our differences in opinion and in our practices can function as a distraction to each other, a distraction that drives individuals into factions that need not be. We can hold two truths, even if they are divergent. Sometimes in the pursuit of being more inclusive, we end up dismantling things that are vital in their more exclusive forms. For instance, I am part of support groups for parents whose children have died. Within those circles, there are several subgroups or subcircles. Parents can join that specifically relate to how they lost their child. These are exclusive groups designed for processing and coping and witnessing alongside one another. There is immense value in a close-knit, narrowly focused, singularly serving group, the value of which would not only be diminished, but would utterly be erased if it were more inclusive. As a woman who has decades of experience leading and participating in female-centered circles, I can with confidence and enthusiasm affirm the benefit in such exclusivity. As a mother of a son whose death was indescribably violent, I can insist that an intentionally, exclusively close circle is necessary to enable the vulnerable expression of that grief. There is also immense value in other arenas for circles to be far more vast and wide and inclusive, widening to the point of containing polar opposites of the spectrum of experience and belief. Spiritually, yes, yet perhaps even more so in today's age, politically. Such a profoundly widened circle is inherently necessary in our communities. And how could it be any other way living in a state such as Maine, in a country such as the United States, where the scope of what people hold dear is broad yet specific to their own understandings? Much of the time we are charitable when it comes to giving others credit as they, like us, are seeking paths to truth. We give the benefit of the doubt to others in countless circumstances, yet struggle to do so to opposing political beliefs. Sometimes our opposition reveals itself as an unwillingness to listen to another's political views. We change topic or otherwise remove ourselves from potentially uncomfortable conversations about politics, being inaccessible and dismissive. Other times, our opposition is so strong and our hearts so hardened against any other truth but our own, it manifests as complete disregard for the other's perspectives. We find ourselves compelled to enter conversations with or about another's political viewpoints combatively. We're ready to fight. Harsh words at the ready. Worse still, we turn the other in our minds into our enemy. And with that frame of mind, it is easy to fast track to name calling, gaslighting, and engaging in various forms of slander, outright or subtle, designed to discredit the other person, discredit their perspectives and their beliefs. As a people of faith, we proclaim love as one of our essential philosophies. Yet all too often, love is replaced with animosity when it comes to each other's political inclinations, making effective, let alone compassionate communication all but impossible. Poet Cleo Wade tells us, there is not a single conversation that kindness cannot make infinitely better. There is not a single conversation that kindness cannot make infinitely better. We've been taught similar throughout our lives. Love your neighbor as yourself, as quoted in the Christian scriptures. It did not have an asterisk behind it, nor did it have a qualifier based on the neighbor's predisposition. Love your neighbor except when they disagree with you is found nowhere in any spiritual text of any living tradition. Prophetic faiths must turn to those who implore us to love. Edwin Markham's epigram, oft quoted in our religious circles about circles, concisely, if quirkily, declares, "He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in." Markham, an Oregon State laureate, spoke often of love and of grace and of kindness as learned measures to be embraced and practiced. He prayed as well. "Teach me, Father, how to go softly as the grasses grow. Teach me, Father, how to be kind and patient as a tree." These words of Edwin Markham and those of Cleo Wade and Mary Oliver can become templates in our contemplative practices when we seek to ever widen our circles of inclusivity. Compassionately, mindfully, may we seek to embrace and create harmony with those we disagree with. Whether they be long-held beliefs or new understandings of personified truths, may we seek help if this is difficult for us to do. I applaud organizations who offer such open welcome, and to those with diverse spiritual and political backgrounds. I'm grateful especially to organizations that facilitate respectful conversations and foster the healing of polarization. Braver Angels is one such organization. Its mission is to bring Americans together to bridge the partisan divide. They affirm politics is tough. It has always been. American politics is competitive, thrilling, frustrating, infuriating. The stakes are high, issues are important, outcomes matter. This is why we care and should care about our politics. But, they ask, do our politics have to be demonizing? Does it have to bring out the worst in us? Our world is fraught with tension and stress and polarization. What can we do instead of actively participating in this extreme polarization? Among Braver Angels' goals is to heal the wounds between left and right. It is about challenging institutions to be better, encouraging individuals and organizations to build community together. Their objective is to move from hatred and disdain to respect and appreciation. And I know that may seem like a pie in the sky dream, but I assure you it is attainable. Braver Angels model skills to bridge the divide via workshops and debates and music, public speaking, op-eds, internships, and mentorship programs. They form local alliances to achieve this. Their goal is to foster conversations that until recently have been completely shut down, conversations for which the moderation of, in a thoughtful, respectful, loving setting, has been absent in our political and spiritual fronts. And these are necessary conversations that are all too often derailed and denied in our us versus them call out cancel culture. What manifests when such paths for discussion are opened up is a welcoming widening of the circle that is more accepting of diverse opinions. It offers a lens of curiosity and creates discovery, innovation, and growth that otherwise could not take place in a unilateral framing. Still, the most common inclination is to segregate based on political beliefs. And some may wonder, well, why shouldn't we? They do the same, right? The affirmation, "we are the ones we have been waiting for," has been spoken by a multitude of speakers over the years. Most endearingly to many of us are these words originating in June Jordan's poem for South African women as spoken to the United Nations, repeated by Alice Walker in her book of the same name, and woven into the beautiful lyrics by Sweet Honey in the Rock. Time upon time, we are reminded that we are the ones we have been waiting for. We acknowledge this, we embrace this, we affirm this, except when we don't. All too often, when it comes time to politics, many would rather remain in their polarized circles than consider stepping into one that has room for more views. We hesitate to initiate widening when it comes to circles of politics. Some of us cringe at the very idea that our walls are up. And when we don't want something, when we don't want to do something, we can find all sorts of reasons to not do it. One of the most fundamental needs for every human is the need to be understood. This activates at its highest potential when it is mutual, a two-way street, the giving and receiving of understanding. What could we learn from each other if we set our differences not just aside, but in center stage? What would you want your neighbor, your friend, your family member to understand about your political inclinations and loyalties? Perhaps even expand to include how your spirituality informs your political inclinations, or your political inclinations inform your spirituality, as the case may be. Would you grant them the grace to enter an environment, a circle where you can learn more about theirs? Are you willing to contribute to widening the circle to welcome those you politically disagree with? If so, will you do so in kindness, in grace, in love, to intentionally create the peace and the liberty and justice all humans inherently seek? You are the ones you have been waiting for. Make of yourself a light, the Buddha said. Make of yourself a light, Mary Oliver reminded. What the world needs most is light. May it be so. I invite you into music once again. The beautiful words of Linda, accompanied by Women with Wings, Powers of the Universe.
We call the loving powers of the universe and ask you to make us whole. We call the loving powers of the universe. Heal our bodies, heal our minds, heal our souls. We call the loving powers of the universe and ask you to make us whole. We call the loving powers of the universe. Heal our bodies, heal our minds, heal our souls. We call the loving powers of the universe and ask you to make us whole. We call the loving powers of the universe. Heal our bodies, heal our minds, heal our souls. We call the loving powers of the universe and ask you to make us whole. We call the loving powers of the universe. Heal our bodies, heal our minds, heal our souls.
We extinguish this flame, yet the light of peace remains ever present in our heart. May this light we carry guide us to greet disagreements with grace. May we contribute to each conversation, kindness, and may we ever expand our circles in love. Amen.